Thanks for listening to our podcast, Unmetered. As a member-owned, not-for-profit electric cooperative, our focus is on providing affordable, reliable, safe electricity and outstanding member service. One way that we're doing that is by providing more avenues of communication to you, our member. Through the podcast, we hope that you will be able to find some helpful hints, tips, and things to help you conserve energy, as well as some informational pieces that will help you understand what it means to be a member. Thanks again for listening to Unmetered, brought to you by Middle Tennessee Electric. Excited that this is our 66th episode.
So many.
There's a lot of information. In fact, if you're looking for some of the other ones that we've done, you can actually go back to and check those out at mtmc.com/unmetered.
That's where they are. Or you can check them on YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube is good, or the podcast channel. We're in a lot of different places. So if you've not subscribed to those, be sure to check those out as well. Today we're talking about storm safety.
Yeah.
It's that time of year again.
It is.
No, it's really, I don't really know if it's anybody's favorite time of year. I mean, it's spring.
It looks cool.
It looks nice, but storms come along and you don't know whether you need a rain jacket, if you need to wear shorts, or if you need to wear sunglasses. It's very confusing on what to wear. Sometimes we might even need to wear snow gloves.
It gets cold.
It's that time of the year where we just don't know what's going on.
You just go out, you just put everything in your car. You will talk about those tips later, though. You just put everything in your car so you're ready.
Well, before we get to those tips, let's talk about share and change real quick.
Yeah, easiest good thing you'll ever do. If you haven't signed up, sign up. Real easy to do. Sign up on your bill, sign up by your web portal, give us a call, round your bill up, make a difference, go.
Yeah, and like I said, for more information, you can always go to shareandchange.org, or you can give us a call at 877-777-9020. One of our member support specialists can actually get you signed up. Also, they can also help you with any information that you have about your account. You got a question about a bill, have a question about why your energy consumption is so high. They can help give you a few additional tips based on your account.
And if you need to update your information, that's always a good thing. You
need to keep updated information.
Keep a constant phone number on there. That's a good thing to do.
Exactly. The other thing, of course, that you can do with MyMTMC, which is our mobile app and our web portal online. If you've not downloaded that, be sure to check that as well.
Yeah, get that done.
We have had tens of thousands of people have signed up for it now,
and it is so easy. It's really cool. Talking about high bills, I mean, we had some of those a while back. You can check out your daily consumption down to like the hour. I mean, truly, and then rolling right into what we're talking about today. If you have an outage, report it right there.
Well, and you can report it on the MyMTMC mobile app. Yep. If for some reason your computer is working even though you have an outage, you can do it there. I don't really know how that exactly works. If you might have a generator plugged in or something like that, but you might be out of state and you get a notification that you have a power outage, and you can actually submit that online as well. Or one of the easiest things to do besides the mobile app is just to give us a call.
Call us. Yep.
And that number is 877-777-9111. Of course, you'll get put into the outage. And if you're looking to see if how many outages are in the area, you can actually go to mtmc.com/outage.
Yeah, our outage map updates just every so often. It's actually pretty quick and shows you, if you know the location, it doesn't get like down to your street, but it gets a pretty good bird's eye view of where there's outages. So if you're curious, if you're at work, you get a notification, you can always pull it up, check it out.
So that leads us into what we want to talk about today, which is spring storm safety.
Say that 10 times quick.
I barely said it the first time. It's kind of a tongue twister here.
It is.
But spring storms, they come around every year. There's typically two times of the year that we encounter more of our storm related outages that we can expect those and anticipate those. Typically that's going to be during the springtime. Of course, April showers bring May flowers.
That's right.
And
even though we're in March.
In March. It's getting close. All right. This time last year, actually on March 3rd and March 21st, we had some extensive outages due to some very heavy thunderstorms, tornadic activity.
Yeah,
I think is tornadic a word?
Tornadic.
Twister. There were tornadoes that were going around. You might have heard about them in Woodbury out in Franklin. Right. So again, there were these times of years, it's very unpredictable. You never know what you're going to get into. And so being prepared is one of the best things you can do to keep you and your family safe during an outage.
I think the best thing to do, if you, and we're going to get into a lot of these tips, but if you look at the weather forecast and it says that there might be thunderstorms, take it seriously. I mean, even worst case scenario, you prepare for them and they don't happen. Great, you're ready for next time. But don't get hung out there with not being ready. It's not a good thing.
Well, and like we were saying, if you prepare ahead of time, it's not going to hurt anything. A few tips that we actually recommend for people to do before the storm comes, and before, really, they're just good to have in general.
Yeah.
Like I said, around here we have issues with flooding, we have issues with tornadoes, of course, and sometimes there's just some unnatural disasters that go on that we don't know about or can't anticipate. But one of the easiest things you can do is actually check your GFCI outlets, which GFCI stands for the ground fault circuit interrupters, or you might have arc fault interrupters, circuit interrupters, AFCIs. There's two different kinds out there, but make sure you're testing those regularly.
And for those, if you're like, I have no idea what you're talking about, layman's terms, they're the little plugs that have the little buttons in the middle.
Yep.
You can test them. It's not going to mess it up. I mean, test them. Hit the button and it'll trip it, and then you can reset it. Well, you're going to have to reset your clock.
Typically, it depends on where it's at. So typically, you'll find one in the bathroom because of safety concerns. There, you're also. Some houses have them on the outside, on the outside circuit, especially if you're doing a lot of holiday lighting or exterior work with electricity, and then in the kitchen. Those are the three probably biggest places you're going to find those interrupters.
And I'll tell you, if you're not sure where they all are, just walk around your house. Last year we talked about, doing an e-score and getting everybody involved, counting light bulbs. This is a time to go around and check for those outlets. Yep. One place that we had one trip and I could not find this thing anywhere. I was like, where in the world? Check your garage. I actually have two in my garage, one on either side.
Really?
And I would have never known because it was tucked back behind my refrigerator or my freezer back there, and it was tucked back in there. And actually, I think it was our outside light, the porch light, was attached to it. I'm like, where is this?
And testing them is a good thing as well to know where they are.
Right.
For instance, in my house, I actually have both my bathrooms are on one interrupter. However, they're on opposite ends of the house, and so if someone they trip it over in the spare bathroom or something, they have to go all the way to the other side to find it. It's like that doesn't. I don't know why, but that's just where that was. Right. My house is 20 years old. It still works. They still do great.
That's a fantastic point, man. Is to actually turn some lights on and trip them and see what ones go out, so that way you have an idea. But in some of our areas, folks run a generator. And the big thing to make sure of is if you have a generator, one, make sure it's serviced. I mean, that's a big thing, and make sure that it's hooked up correctly. If it's installed, make sure that it's professionally installed.
Well, and making sure it's plugged up correctly does not mean plugging it into just any outlet,
right?
Even a GFCI outlet.
Yep.
You have to make sure that it's installed professionally by someone, so that way when you turn it on in an outage, it doesn't backfeed out onto the system, creating a very dangerous situation for our linemen.
And see, and that's a great point, man, is a lot of folks don't understand what the big deal is. And what it does is our linemen get there and they think that a line is de-energized, and you're running a generator and it's putting electricity back on that line.
Yep.
And it can really, really be a bad, just a horrible day for somebody. So make sure that it's installed properly. And if you're not sure, ask somebody.
Yeah.
Truly.
Well, and again, with those generators, as with any type of alternative heat source, make sure those are in a place that's well ventilated.
Right.
Especially if you've got it's plugged up in the garage, set up in the garage, make sure that you have ventilation in the garage that is not blowing it back into it. Some people have a heated or cooled garage, and it's actually just going back into the vents, and then it could actually give you a carbon dioxide poisoning or potential death because you go to sleep and you don't realize it's coming back in because maybe you don't have a carbon dioxide detector because the only thing you don't have any natural gas.
Right.
Like I don't have any natural gas in the home.
Yeah, I mean those carbon monoxide detectors are incredibly important.
Yep.
Incredibly important to get. I mean, they're not expensive. So grab one of those, especially if you're running a generator. You can find them at local hardware store.
Well, and the other thing, we're talking about things you can do before the storm.
Right.
And this one may sound kind of silly, but it's a good point, is if you see lightning or you see a tornado, go back inside. You know, get away from, you know, if it's lightning storm, get away from fences, get away from solitary trees and high objects near you. Or if you're in a car and you're stuck out in a lightning storm, just stay in your car.
Sit tight.
It's safe. But if you know, like I said, get back inside. Don't go out there and say, I'm going to stare this thing down and see what's going on.
Man,
it's not safe.
So many folks have that happen. You know, I mean, they'll think, oh, it's not going to get me. It's not going to get me. It's not going to get me. It got you.
Yep.
You know, I mean, and there's nothing you can do. It's literally a split second. So if you see that stuff, if you see the wind blowing like crazy, and you know, I get it, because I want to go outside. I want to see. I want to be like, wow, this is so cool. But you just don't. Just if they tell you, if the beeper comes across and they tell you to get in a safe place, get in your safe place. Do
or your safe space. Either way,
whichever.
Whichever way you want to say it, it's fine.
Get safe. How about that? We'll just leave it there.
Well, another thing that you should have in your safe space or place, depending on how you want to call it, is make sure you have an emergency kit. We talked about emergency kits a couple weeks ago, back in January, actually. So check out that little bonus feature. Kind of talks a little bit more about some of those things to prepare for a kit. But during the storm itself, now this is something that I honestly did not know about until I was getting ready for this particular podcast, is during a storm and an outage occurs, and this doesn't just happen to be a storm, it could be any type of outage, make sure you turn off the appliances that were running.
Man, that's a good idea. I never thought about that.
Because, well, you know, I'm thinking to myself, you know, maybe I was in the middle of cooking, so I have like a little food processor that I use, or even if I've got the dishwasher running or the washer and dryer running, if everything comes back on at the same time, it could create a surge on my breaker.
That's a good point.
Because everything is firing back up again.
I didn't even realize that. That's actually a real good point.
Plus, I would hate to have a food processor start up while I'm not standing next to it. So it's an easy thing to do. Just go around, turn it back off. I mean, you don't have to worry about your HVAC system or you know, something like that if that's the only thing you got running, because sometimes outages happen at night, you never even notice. But during the daytime, you're probably going to have extra things on. And so what you do is you actually turn on one light, and that way you can tell when the power comes back on.
And that's a good point. I would not recommend running around trying to turn everything off while the storm's bearing down on you.
True, that's
Take care of what's in your immediate reach, and then get to your the safe.
If the tornado's on the way, be sure, don't worry about your appliances. They'll be, you know, ultimately you can replace those.
That's right.
Get yourself safe.
You know, it's one thing that when I moved here, I didn't realize, you know, growing up on the West Coast, we would have the occasional earthquake and stuff like that. But we never really had thunderstorms or tornadoes or tornado warnings like we do in Tennessee. And so when I bought my house, I'd hear the warnings come across. I'm like, well, where do I put my family of 5 and my 2 dogs? You know, identify that place. I mean, you know, I was like, oh, we'll just go in one of the bedrooms. Well, there's windows in the bedrooms. You know, oh, well, we'll find the center of your house, the lowest point, whatever it is.
Under the stairs, bathrooms are always good because the additional pipes, which kind of is interesting because one of the things you don't want to do in a lightning storm is be in water. Or be in a place that has water pipes pouring water onto you, say like a shower. Exactly.
So that's what we did. We identified the spot, and we're like, it's going to be tight, it's going to be cozy, but hopefully it won't last long. So, you know, identify that place first and foremost, and then you know you're ready. You know, once the storm kind of wraps up, you know, and of course we're talking worst case scenario. You know, there's thunderstorms, but it never hurts to be prepared. Once it wraps up, man, look around. First, be careful. You know, I mean, if there truly was a tornado or something and things are falling, be careful. Be careful going outside. If you see a downed power line, always, and this goes for a storm, this goes for any time of
car accidents, anything like that.
If you see a downed line, don't touch it. Don't ride a bike over it. Don't drive your car over it. Stay away from it. Just consider it energized. It may not be sparking and flailing all over the place, but just consider it energized. You know, we will get calls from folks that'll say, hey, you know, I got a down power line over my driveway. I can't get out. So we'll send crews out there, and there'll be a telecom line, you know, or a cable line. And that's okay. I mean, we would rather you call us and be safe than for you to drive over it and have something drastic happen. So, you know, keep an eye out for those down lines.
Yeah, and you know, we're talking a worst case scenario type stuff. I mean, lightning storms are dangerous, not just can be, but they are dangerous. So be aware of those. But if you go back into a storm damaged home, say for instance, tornadoes come through, there is water maybe on the ground, be aware of where you're going into, because one thing that a lot of people don't think about is a storm's come through and there is standing water in their breaker room. Well, breaker is still on.
That's
It's still
right.
active, and it can be dangerous. So in those situations, if you can't reach your breaker to turn it off, especially like I said, especially if before there's water on the ground or anything like that, go and turn your breaker off before you leave the home, especially in a flood situation or anything
Right.
like that. But again, say for instance there's been a tornado and there's that water standing in there. Don't just rush in there and think, oh, I need to turn off my power now. Instead, call us, and one of our member support specialists can help walk you through on whether or not you need to have a electrician come out and cut things off, or if we need to come out and help out as well. Because again, this is one of those things that it's happened in other places, especially during the floods down in Houston because of the hurricanes,
Right.
and in Florida and those types of places. People can get seriously injured.
Yeah, it's
in
just a
that
matter
situation.
of just really thinking about things, thinking things through before you take that first step, or before you go back into a home where there's standing water, or before you flip on light switches and stuff like that. Just kind of take stock of what's around you, and just be cognizant and think about it. And you can't be too safe. I mean, truly, you can't be overly safe. Worst case scenario, give us a call. Give us a call, and if your power's out, call us.
Yep.
If you have questions, check out our website. Check out Tennessee Magazine. We have some great information on the Tennessee Magazine this month about things that you can prepare for, ways you can prepare a little kit that you talked about a couple weeks ago, and there's also some information in there about what to expect. We're going to have storms. It's going to happen.
Yep.
We ask, man, this is one thing that I cannot ask enough. When the lights go out and you report it, be patient, because we're not going to send our line crews out until it's safe for them to get out. And that's a huge thing.
And that's something that, again, we're using the weather radar and stuff like that to be able to determine when it's safe to send guys out. Of course, and safety is a priority.
Yeah, absolutely.
Plain and simple, it's a priority. Not just safety of our members. Safety of our crews.
That's right.
Safety of the contractors that we're working with, and if there's something that's going to jeopardize their safety, we have to delay that just a little bit. But again, these guys are raring to go. These guys are they are literally, in those situations, they are prepared to roll out as soon as they've got the all clear from our control.
That's right. We're going to err on the side of caution, but don't let that sound like we're not going to show up.
Right.
We're going to roll the trucks as soon as we can. If it's raining out, our guys will work.
Yeah.
If there's lightning, going to wait for a little bit. That's just, but you got to think about it. They're 30, 40 feet up in a pole.
It goes without saying that if there's a tornado, we're going to have to wait a minute.
Some of these guys maybe they're gung ho. They may want to do it, but we're like,
calm down just a second. Stay inside. Stay in your safe space, guys.
We joke, but those guys, you're absolutely right.
Yep.
They're raring and ready to go. They want to get your lights back on, as quickly as they can. They have the hearts of servants, and that's just what they do.
And it's not just our linemen that are looking to help you guys during a situation like that. Be sure to call us at 877-777-9111 to report an outage.
That's right.
But if you've got concerns about, hey, I've got I think my tap line or the my meter needs to be replaced or something like that after a storm or something like that.
Right.
The member support specialists, the engineers, everybody in this cooperative is looking to help people, and after a storm is going on, and if they can help during a storm, they're going to. So again, if you've got questions, got concerns, go to mtmc.com, where you can find a lot of information about safety, energy efficiency, things of that nature. But you can also get all of our contact information.
That's right.
And so, it's a great place.
And one thing to remember as well is our systems control operators. They're there 24/7, 365 days a year, always monitoring the system, watching the weather, getting crews ready to roll out when storms roll in. So you're in good hands. You're in good hands when the power goes out.
Not to be a certain insurance company, but
that's right.
You're in good hands.
That's right.
But speaking of which, we're going to have to roll out ourselves.
That's right.
Our time is up.
Hey, I see a note on here about a story for next week.
Oh, you're right.
Speaking of light bulbs and such.
Of light bulbs and things. Again, we've been doing the unmetered stories.
Yeah.
Last week we talked about the Doppler radar.
Fantastic
story.
story.
It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed getting to do that. Next week, talking about talking about light bulbs, and honestly, I'm not real sure where that story is going to take us. You never know if it's going to be the inventor of the light bulb. You never know if it is going to be the person who created the light socket or the manufacturing company that actually made the first LED bulb. You never know. All I know is that it's somewhere related to a light bulb.
I think it's fantastic. Got to make them come back.
Exactly. All right, guys. Thanks. Come back next week. Subscribe to Unmetered on one of our podcast channels, iTunes, Google Play, YouTube, or just follow us on Facebook. You'll see it there as well.
Sounds good.
Thanks again for listening.
See ya. Unmetered is brought to you by Middle Tennessee Electric.